And welcome into the St. Martin's Women's Basketball Halftime Show. And fans, this is a huge honor, a huge treat for me personally and really on behalf of the entire St. Martin's Athletic Department. We are joined right now by Washington Mystics head coach Mike Thibault, and I should say the defending world champion Washington Mystics.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
It sure does. I'm sure it sounds better to you than it does to just about anybody else on planet Earth.
Great.
But hey, real quick, let's talk basketball. What did you like about what you just saw in the first half of this game?
Well, I think, I've talked to Christy several times through the course of the season. Their biggest thing is to keep getting better defensively, and I thought they were really good defensively. Yep. They had maybe a couple, transition ones where they got caught with mismatches, but in general, you hold somebody to 22 points and a half, you've got to feel good about yourself. They couldn't buy a bucket in the first quarter. Now, they're kind of calmed down on the offensive end, but I've really been impressed with how much they've improved defensively over the course of the season.
I'm not sure a lot of folks know this, but you are the all-time winningest coach in the history of the WNBA. That in itself is pretty amazing, but you are also, as we just mentioned, coming off a championship season. Talk a little bit about the experience of going all the way through a championship season, what that means to you personally as a coach, but also what it means to your players and your staff and the entire organization.
Well, personally, it's kind of, I've always been about, the family experience with our players, and, I think I was the happiest the night we won for, the people on our staff and our players who would, waited for it. It was fun to look up in the stands and see, season ticket holders who had been with the team for 20 plus years, or people on the staff actually who, had been with the Mystics since their inception and wondered if they were ever going to get a championship. So I think that was maybe the most rewarding thing. When you're trying to win, it's hard when you're on the outside. Only one team gets to win. We were sitting in that other locker room a year ago losing to Seattle, and I'm sure fans up here were happy about that. But it's a full year to kind of get back to that point. And our players purposely put a target on their back to pressure themselves to get back to the finals and finish what we hadn't done the year before. We went through some injuries with Tolliver and Deladon and a few others. But just the day-to-day work ethic of our team, playoff pressure is incredible. And they handled it with such calmness. We were down, I think, 9 points in the middle of the third quarter of the deciding game. And I probably felt as calm as I had all year. I just felt like our team had it. They were in control. So that's a nice feeling as a coach to know that your players have the right mindset to finish it.
Well, you mentioned Deladon. She is one of the best players in all of basketball, playing professionally anywhere in the world right now. How special is it to have a player like her on your team?
It's a coach's dream. You have somebody who can do just about anything on the court.
Yep.
A 6'5" player who plays literally almost every position for us. I watched her when she was really young. In the 8th grade, she was a 6'2" point guard for a high school team.
Amazing.
So, it's special. I've been fortunate in my career to coach some pretty good players in the NBA side, and she's that same kind of player in the WNBA.
Amazing that she actually walked away from the college game for a little while in order to focus on family things, and then went and played some volleyball at Delaware before deciding, hey, you know what, I've found the fire again to go play some basketball, and what a decision that's been for her.
She just had lost her love for the game, all the day-to-day stuff, and she really needed that mental break to kind of get that passion back for the game, and it's served her well.
Yeah. Well, here you are back in Lacey, Washington for the first time in what's probably been a
while
for you.
It's been a while.
For those of you who don't know, Coach Thibault is a St. Martin's graduate. We are in the presence of a St. Martin's alumnus. What do you think's the most different since you were last here?
Walking in the front door, the Worthington Center wasn't here. There was a wall there that went to our little tiny office. There was no stairs up there. The building itself feels kind of the same. When you walk in, to this style of a building, I had great experiences here. I have good memories of being here. The logo's changed a little bit. The seats have been upgraded since I first started here. But it's just a good feeling to come in. And, we were an NAI school when I was coaching here. And so now, the D2, I think, is the perfect level for St. Martin's to be at. You can get more kids. The level of play is exceptional. And it's fun to see, the program on both the men's and women's side building towards great things.
Well, it's a great family that we have here at St. Martin's. And speaking of family, how cool is it for you personally as well to have not one but two of your kids now coaching? We've got your son Eric, who is your assistant, I believe, with you in Washington, but also your daughter Carly is an assistant coach on the staff at the University of Minnesota.
In fact, I'm peeking at scores here.
Of course you are.
They were up at Wisconsin tonight, so I think they were up 34-14 last I looked.
Oh, wow.
So that's a good night. They've had some injuries and some other issues, but they've bounced back. It's fun. I mean, my son and I haven't killed each other yet. We have a good rapport. That's been great. I tried talking both of them out of it, and I realized that was pretty futile. They've grown up around the game, so they've been around the NBA game and the WNBA game their whole lives. So it was hard to convince them to do something else. They had too much fun with it.
I can't let you get out of here without asking you about one of your other professional stops in the long arc of your coaching and scouting career. And again, for fans who aren't aware of this, you were on the staff of the Chicago Bulls in the early 80s. In fact, you were part of the brain trust with the Bulls that not only scouted but drafted Michael Jordan, number 3 overall in the 1984 draft. How amazing is that you were part of the Bulls when you brought Michael Jordan into the fold for Chicago?
It's pretty funny because, you look back and everybody goes, well, that's an easy decision. If we had the first pick, we wouldn't have taken him. We would have actually taken Hakeem Olajuwon. We really had more of a need for a center. But after that, we had people in the organization from ownership on down saying, why do you want to take another guard? Let's trade up to get Sam Bowie. Let's trade down to get, a Mel Turpin or something. We don't need another stinking guard. We said, this one's pretty good. So Rod Thorne, who was the GM, and I made a vow the night before the draft that we were locking everybody that wanted to make that decision in the other room until the draft was done, and then we'd let them back in. And it was funny, even that summer after the draft, people in the organization, Michael was in the 84 Olympics that summer in L.A., and but there were people saying, are you sure you guys took the right guy? Yeah, I said, I think this guy's going to be pretty good. We'll be okay with this one.
Well, and thank goodness the Blazers had actually drafted Hakeem Olajuwon's teammate in the previous draft. Of course, Clyde Drexler was already basically playing the same position for the Blazers, thus filling that role for them, which, of course, precipitated them taking a guy like Sam Bowie out of Kentucky. But, man, oh, man, it's just amazing to hear you talk about this stuff. And, Coach, we could sit here and talk about basketball all night. I'll ask you this, though. Already we've seen one player from this Simon Fraser program playing in the WNBA. It's amazing that basketball players come in all shapes, all sizes, and they can come from literally anywhere around the world or from any collegiate basketball program. How special is it to have a GNAC player in the WNBA?
Hey, it's terrific. I mean, I think back to when I left here to go to the Lakers. We drafted Simon Fraser player Jay Triano, who is now an assistant coach in the NBA. Was on the national team in Canada. There are good players everywhere, and it's you don't have that many hidden gems as much. Kids get exposure so much earlier, with AAU and stuff. But if you're a really good player, people find out about you, and there's more opportunities. I mean, there's kids that can come from a program like this, and they're probably not going to make the WNBA very often, but they can go make money overseas in France or Germany or Turkey or wherever. And so, we cut players from our league that are all Americans, but I tell them, okay, you're not in the top 144 in the world, but you're in the top 500. You're going to make some money playing a kids game. So that's pretty cool, I think.
Well, Christy Martin, too, will probably beat me over the head later if I don't ask you about your relationship with her as well. And it's a pretty special relationship. In fact, one thing I do know about Coach Martin, Coach, is that she basically changed her entire defensive strategy and philosophy after you allowed her to come and sit in some of your practices and go to a few of your games. So she learned so much. She was just there in Washington, just sponging knowledge out of you and your system and your culture there with the Mystics. Talk about your relationship with Coach Christy Martin.
I just, for me, I mean, I'm the old guy in the building now, and I like, being able to talk to young coaches and share ideas. I still learn stuff. I'll take something home from this game, whether it's an out-of-bounds play or something that we can use. And I think that's one of the great things about our profession. You can share information and ideas. It's nice to see her take some of our things and watch it actually take place on the court. It's fun for me. I got a chance to go down and talk to the players early today before the game. And just, I had done some FaceTime stuff with them a year ago, and to actually do it in person was fun. And so, Christy and I have developed a good relationship. We can talk X's and O's or just the psychology of the game.
He's a world champion. He's the winningest coach in the history of the WNBA. He's the guy who brought Michael Jordan to Chicago and fans. He is a St. Martin's
most important
alumnus.
part of it.
Coach Mike Thibault, so very kind of you to stop by and share a few of your thoughts and nuggets and pearls of wisdom here during the St. Martin's women's basketball.
Well, let's keep this
halftime
rolling
show.
in the second half.
You know it. All right.
Thanks.
So great
Appreciate
to
it.
have you here again.